It is NBA draft day. What are the Spurs going to do? We're going to be looking at the latest Spurs draft news. What does Coach Pico out of Rutgers have to say about Dylan Harper and so much more?
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey, welcome back to Locked On Spurs, right here on the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Kens 5 San Antonio. Glad to have y'all back. Thanks for being Locked On Spurs. Well, your best fans. You are the best fans. You come here every single day to see what the latest and greatest is going on with the Silver and Black. Make sure to subscribe wherever you get your favorite podcast, iTunes, Spotify, Kens 5 Plus app, YouTube. You know what to do. Keep on being those everydayers here at Locked On Spurs. And what are we talking about today? Yeah, I wonder what we're going to be talking about today. It's NBA Draft 2025. Yes, the first round is today. Spurs hold picks 2 and 14, and we'll see what will happen. I think we kind of know what's going to happen with number 2. But yeah, what do we got on the list today? We're going to get on the latest Spurs draft news. 3 names are popping up right now. We're going to talk about that. Hear from Rutgers coach Pico and what he has to say about Dylan Harper, the imminent next Spur player to wear a silver and black uniform. And then finally ask the big question about number 14. Are they going to move up? Are they going to move down? They just get out and just pick one and done. We're going to do that in just a few seconds. But let's go ahead and bring in our guest. He is Rudy Campos of Sweep the League. Be sure to follow him on X at Sweep the League and on TikTok at Sweep the League Radio. Rudy, I rarely push Rudy to do video. I rarely do. You can't do it. We do audio. We're fine. But this is the one time, Rudy, I said, no, I think I kind of need you on video, man, because it's freaking NBA draft day, man.
Yeah, I understand. And, work schedules and all always come into play and stuff. But understanding how important today is for Spurs fans and Spurs, media everywhere, definitely have to do some video for you.
Absolutely. Again, everybody, make sure to follow him on X at Sweep today. We got a jam-packed show, so let's go ahead and dive into it. All right, so what is the latest Spurs draft player news that's going on? Well, several. Well, we can't go through all of them, so we're going to pick the top 3. The first one is Kaman Maluwach. His name keeps on getting thrown in the mix when it comes to the Spurs. But however, it is projected that the big man out of Duke could be gone by the time the Spurs get around to 14. But, let's hear more about Kaman Maluwach. Why the Spurs are targeting him. Could they move up? This is via CBS Sports. Stand by. 3, 2, 1.
Spurs are hoping to target a big man here. They had Kaman Maluwach in for a second workout. That doesn't happen unless they are looking to move up in this draft. So while there's been a lot of speculation about maybe they would try and trade 2, it sounds like they're trying to move up and pair Dylan Harper with someone like Maluwach. Why would they do that? Because reportedly, Wemby's not crazy about playing the 5. If they can't trade up and Barry Ja's off the board, I think then, and possibly only then, they would go to the wing. I've got them taking Cedric Coward. What do you think about that?
I think this is a fine pick. Look, I'd be fine even reaching for Asanuo from Georgia as well. A big lob threat, someone who I think can be a really good defensive prospect in the NBA. Coward's just a fine prospect here, though. He's 6'5", 7'2" wingspan. One of the biggest risers during the NBA draft process, Fink, as you know. Career 39% three-point shooter. Began his career at the Division III level. There's a story on CBSSports.com from Matt Norlander on Coward's rise and his journey to where he's at right now. I think there's probably a little debate on his actual upside, but I think the floor case for Coward, Fink, is someone who's going to be a really good rotational wing. He can space the floor, good size, good length. I think he can be a plus defender at the NBA. So there's a lot to like here for the Spurs, and obviously getting Dylan Harper early in this draft, adding Coward again.
All right, there you have it. That's from CBS Sports. And they mentioned Coward. We'll touch on him in a little while. But first, on Maluwach, this name keeps on popping up over and over again for the Spurs. You just heard it right now via CBS Sports that the Spurs have worked them out twice. But really, they're going to have to move up, likely, right? I don't see him being there at 14.
Yeah, seeing him at 14, considering him and Derek Queen are probably going to be the 2 biggest names as far as the big men go. To go early within the top 10, getting him at 14 would be an absolute steal. Somebody in that range or ahead of time is going to take him. You're talking the possibilities of Charlotte maybe at number 4 taking him. He can probably go at 6 to Washington. Not only that, 7 to New Orleans. I mean, there's just so many teams. Number 9 to the Raptors, since they've kind of got Jakob Poeltl on the trading blocks right now. So Malawak falling to 14, I'm going to say it's very, very, very impossible to happen.
It will it cost a pretty penny to move up to get him, though?
Absolutely not. No.
It won't, right? So why not should the Spurs do it? Now, we'll get into this more later, but you think it'll be worth it for the Spurs to move up to try to get him?
Honestly, it'll be worth it to the Spurs. Just depends on how big of a price tag the other team wants. Now, we're not saying, well, they want 14 and a first next year and this and that. I mean, it's not going to be anything like that. A lot of these teams have a lot of different needs, and there's so many good players, especially in the lottery, that are going to be really impact players where if you miss out on a Malawak, you still have a Sorber, you still have a Coward, you still have other guys, not to mention a guy like Danny Wolf, who plays a lot similar to Jokic, has a really good basketball IQ. So there's a lot of great big men out there. If you can't trade up to get Malawak, then you're okay at 14. You're going to find a big man there at somewhere in the draft. But trade up to 14, Jeff, it's not going to cost a whole lot. It'll be 14, maybe a player, maybe like a Malachi, maybe somebody around there. So it should not cost a whole lot to move up.
Yeah, I like Malawak. I think he'd be exactly what the Spurs need to help in the big man department. However, he is labeled a project player, and he is very raw. I would understand if the Spurs may not want to target him because of that. I don't think this team cannot, be looking at projects right now. They got to get this business going, man. They got to stop missing out on the postseason. But he would address the Spurs' need for big man depth moving forward. Now, there's been reports lately that the Spurs are looking at Kristaps Porzingis and the big man out of Philadelphia, the Frenchman. I can never pronounce it. Yes, Sabuli. Sabuli. So there's that. I still think the Spurs are better off focusing their need at big via free agency. Look, if they move up to get him, that's great. That's phenomenal. That's awesome. Good job, Spurs. But it's just the fact that he may not be NBA ready. What kind of makes me pause a little bit. Rudy, your thoughts?
I would say don't fear so much on that. Malawak has improved a whole lot, especially in this offseason heading into the draft. I understand the whole going into the gym, shooting by yourself, but for a big man like that to kind of get a rhythm in the draft process it speaks a lot of volumes for him. But where it benefits the Spurs is he can come in right away. He can be a starter with this team day one or night one, actually. He can be that starter. Move Wemby to the 4. You've got a twin tower, similar to what David and Tim were, the modern day version of it. But defensively, I mean, that is a massive, massive twin tower right there with Malawak and Victor Wembanyama on the defensive side. But again, it allows Victor to play more on the perimeter, as Malawak is going to be a lot inside of the paint, doing a lot of his damage, a lot of lobs. So if you can imagine a 7'4" throwing it up to a 7'3" guy in Malawak, I mean, that's going to be the type of game you're going to see. I wouldn't worry so much, Jeff. If they get him, I wouldn't say he's a project. Behringer is a project. Noah Senge is similar as a project. Those are the guys you look at like, okay, they're going to need a little bit more time. Malawak is ready right now. I don't have any problems with it.
All right. Well, you heard the name as well that's mentioned, Cedric Coward out of Houston. A name that's been popping up lately and being connected to the Spurs. You look at what Cedric brought last season to Houston, 17 points, 7 points per game, 3.7 assists, 7 rebounds, shot the ball 40% from the 3 line and 56% from the field. That was last season with the Cougars, I believe. So I look at this guy and, again, a small forward.
Yeah.
It doesn't really address a need for a big man, but it just feels like you're just bringing in another Devin Vassell, Harrison Barnes type player. What do you think about Coward?
I like Cedric Coward. I mean, like you mentioned, he's 6'5", has a really long wingspan at 7'2" wingspan. Really big catch and shoot threat. Very athletic player. His defense off the ball, It's elite. I'll say it's really, really well up there. He's got a major upside for him. 17 points a game last year, 7 rebounds for Houston. You're right. It's kind of like a, would you say, 3-and-D type of guy who can come in and shot 40% from 3-point range with Houston. So, yeah, you're kind of getting similar to what you have with Devin and maybe what you have in Harrison Barnes. But at this point, if they go 14 and they're able to get Cedric Coward, I wouldn't put it past them to trade back into the first late in the draft and possibly look at a big man, because at that time you've got guys with potentially Maxime Reynaud was the one guy you covered a while back and a few weeks ago. He could be there potentially at the late first round. A kid out of China, Hansen Yang, if you were watching the combine and if you were watching video pre-combine, you can definitely see the upside on Hansen Yang out of China. So there are guys you can go back and get in the first round if you really wanted to. I think Coward might have been a, best player available at that position. But keep in mind, Jeff, if they do get Coward, maybe there are rumblings to Devin being traded, Harrison being traded, and they got to fill that role somewhere.
Yeah, just quick correction. We meant to say the Washington State Cougars, not the Houston Cougars. So just a quick note on that, guys. That's Washington State. Our fault. We just saw Cougars and we saw Houston. So, again, Washington State Cougars, Cedric Coward. Nevertheless, though, he only played 6 games last season with Washington there. But, again, played pretty well. As mentioned, 17.7 points per game with Washington here. Yeah, for me, he's kind of a bit of an unknown. He did have a 30-point outing this past November and a win for Washington State. But look, at 14, and if he's on the board, you take him. And if the Spurs have the pick, more on that later, then sure, why not? He definitely will be riding the pine, if not probably be in Austin, wouldn't he?
Not so. I don't think he'd be in Austin. If he is, it wouldn't be very, very long. I think this is the type of player that definitely can fit that role. Again, you've seen what you kind of gotten out of Malachi Branham, so he might fill in where Malachi is. I really don't see him going to Austin. Biggest thing that you got to remember too is it's a whole new coaching staff pretty much for the Spurs. So just to see players come in, get drafted, go to Austin, that's kind of the old regimen. This is a different type of coaching staff, so it's going to be interesting to see what they do with the young guys coming in, who they feel can maybe make a bigger impact right away than shipping them down to the G League.
Yeah, Coward definitely has been getting eyes, not just from the Spurs, just in the lead up until today. Several other teams are looking at him in the late or the middle, I guess, of the first round. We're not done talking about Spurs draft player rumblings. When we get back, we're going to continue that chat. Hear from Coach Peichel about Dylan Harper and so much more right here on Locked On Spurs with Rudy Campos. Hey, I want to talk about open phone. If you're running the business, you know every missed call is money left on the table. Think about the last time you had an urgent need, maybe for a plumber or some sort of service, and the first person didn't answer. You don't wait. You call back. You hang up. You probably didn't stay on the line at all. If not, you just, like I say, hung up. Well, you moved on, and that's why you need Open Phone. Open Phone is the #1 business phone system built to streamline and scale your customer communications, all from an app on your phone or computer. Open Phone lets you manage business calls, text from a single app. You get a shared inbox, which is a game changer. Your team can jump into any conversation instantly without missing a beat. They got an AI agent that'll handle after-hour calls, answer common questions, capture leads. Basically, you'll never miss a customer. Open Phone is offering listeners 20% off their first 6 months at openphone.com/LockedOnNBA. That's OPENPHONE.com/LockedOnNBA. And if you have an existing number with another service, Open Phone will port them over at no extra charge. Open Phone, no missed calls, no missed customers. And we're back right here on Locked On Spurs, joined by Sweep the League's very own Rudy Campos. Follow him on TikTok at Sweep the League Radio. More on his show in just a few minutes. During the break, we had breaking news. The Spurs are trying to move up the draft to get Rudy Campos out of San Antonio.
Yeah, I didn't reclassify, so I'm going to be in next year's draft. But,
man.
This draft class is way too loaded right now. I don't think I'd be a top 30 pick, so I need to look for next year.
We are talking about the NBA draft, which is today. Your Spurs have 2 picks, number 2 and 14. More on 14 later. We're just going over some of the names that have been thrown out there with several reports who the Spurs could be targeting at 14. And another name that's popped up, this is via NJ.com, is Georgetown's freshman Thomas Sorber, 6'10", Rudy. You're looking at a guy that has been, kind of named high among bigs in this NBA draft. It's not just the Spurs that are looking at him. Reportedly, the Wolves are looking at him. The Hawks are looking at him. The Nets are looking at him. He seems to be a guy that I think I would rather see the Spurs take over Malawach. Am I pushing it too far with that?
Yeah, I mean, you got to go Malawach if he's available. Malawach is probably the first guy in there that you want to take, but Sorber's a very, very close second. And I mean, you're talking about a guy went to Georgetown. What is Georgetown known for? The big man, Patrick Ewing, Alonzo Mourning, Dikembe Mutombo. I mean, I'll throw a name out, Othello Harrington, for you kids that don't know basketball.
I haven't heard that name in a long time.
I mean, big man is Georgetown. It's 14.5 points a game last year, 2 blocks, 1.5 steal. The only question mark you have around Sorber is his shooting. But on a team with guys that can shoot the ball right now and that can score, you just need a defensive tank in the paint, and that's what you're getting with Thomas Sorber. He's a really good screener. I mean, if you're talking, comparisons, think of, a younger Al Horford in his younger days, and maybe a Kevon Looney, guys that don't jump out at you, but guess what? They're champions. And that's what it is they do the right things, the little things for the teams to succeed. He would be a really good pick at 14. I don't think it would even be considered a reach. I think he's really going right around that 11 to 18 range, which is kind of wide, but 14 would be perfect for him for the San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah. You mentioned 6'10". He has a 7'4" span and listed at 255 pounds. So he's a big boy. He's actually heavier than Wembanyama. So he's coming in ready to be. Yeah, he's coming in ready to throw that body around. Last season, 14.5 points per game, 8.5 rebounds, 2.4 assists, 2 blocks, 1.5 steals per game, 53% from the field, but 16% from the 3-line, Rudy. That gives me a little time to pause there, because as good as an NBA player he's likely to be, he's not the stretch big that the Spurs need backing up Wemby. Your thoughts?
Well, man, I think
do we need a stretch big? Do the Spurs really need a stretch big?
No, absolutely not.
That the bruiser in the middle? Absolutely not.
They can go. They can easily go with, like I said, Sorber, Malawach. They got a lot of guys they can go with. You don't need a stretch big at all. If Wemby's going to be your stretch big, then let it be. But after that, if he goes to the bench, you bring in a guy like Malawach, Sorber, or whoever they're able to get as a big man, even if it's Porzingis or somebody. That they're just spelling minutes for Wemby, and they're just kind of just filling that role for a little bit. So they're not expecting that a 3-point specialist or any kind of marksmanship. It's just more of a big man in the middle type of move for the Spurs. So I don't have any issues with it. There's not going to be any problems backing up Wemby if that's the case. I really agree with you on one thing, and I've done it all season too. All off season was they're probably going to address the big man issue in depth on the free agent market. They are going to get a big man, I feel, in this draft. But again, there's nobody really that's a big man that's jumping out at you out of Derek Queen and Malawach. And if you can't get either one, go get a big man, but one that you can develop to be, a better part of your team. But Sorber, day one starter, I don't think so. I think he's going to be basically a reserve for a while there. But again, you could kind of do a similar Twin Tower move with Wemby and Sorber.
Yeah, you're looking at some of the other numbers, and these really jump out. He at the rim, 68% field goal percentage. How about this? 2.7 offensive rebounds per game last season with Georgetown. I mean, we look at some of the numbers, and especially the blocks, and he's an elite shot blocker, rim protector. He's a good defender. 1.5 steals, as I mentioned. I mean, that's pretty good for the big man. Yeah, it's really, really good. Others, you look at some of those scouting reports here, you're looking at that he has really good defensive versatility, that he can defend and drop coverage. He can guard even the ball handler, according to some scouting reports, and he's definitely great in the pick and roll. So look, if they get him, I think that is a perfect, fit for what the Spurs need to back up Wemby. I think that's exactly what they need. And look, if he can't hit the three, he can't hit the three. But if he can be that, enforcer in the paint, throw that body around, box guys out, handle some of the big boys in the league. I'm all for it. So let's just say it's draft day and it's ready time for the Spurs at 14. They're on the clock, and you hear Thomas Sorber. Will Rudy Campos be happy or sad?
I'll be happy. I mean, this guy's been on top of my Spurs list for pretty much all off season at the 14th pick. So one thing you got also about Sorber, Jeff, that doesn't get mentioned a lot, the guy averaged fewer than 3 fouls in 40 minutes of play. I mean, the guy, he has such a great feel for the game. He doesn't get rattled. He just kind of picks his points on the court, makes things happen. I mean, when you're talking about a big man, foul trouble usually is a problem, especially with rookies. I mean, he's got a really calm, cool head on him. He's only 19. I think he's going to be 20 pretty soon here. So, I mean, again, just at Sorber at 14, if they call that his name and it's for the Spurs, I'm all for it.
All right. Well, there you have it. That's the quick latest and greatest when it comes to the Spurs and names that are being attached to them tonight at Brooklyn for the 2025 NBA draft. But we are definitely not done talking about the draft. When we get back, we're going to hear from Rutgers coach Peichel about what the Spurs could anticipate if they select Dylan Harper. We know they're going to pick it. All right. So we're safe feeling that. All right. We're going to hear from him. And then, I mean, the only way it messes up with Dallas does what they should do. But I just, you know what? I got to stop because that's a whole other episode of Locked On Spurs. But anyway, we're here with Rudy Campos. Make sure to follow my next at Sweep the League. Yeah, more on the NBA draft and your Spurs in just a few seconds. Hey, I want to talk to you about a Wayfair. There's nothing like stepping into your own outdoor space and feel like you've escaped to a personal oasis. If you're wanting to update your patio this season, Wayfair has made it easy to turn it into a space that feels just like yours. Comfortable, stylish, and ready for summer. Wayfair has everything you need to level up your outdoor space. Conversation sets, outdoor bars, fire pits, hot tubs, gazebos, and yes, even the perfect string of lights to set the vibe. It's like giving your backyard that resort vibe without the resort price tag. For example, well, if you go with Wayfair, you'll get free, fast, total hassle-free delivery, even, yes, on large items. So whether you're hosting friends or just unwinding with a book, you'll generally feel like you're in your own private retreat. And they got new outdoor dining sets. They got modern lounge chairs. They got it all. They'll completely transform your patio. Don't wait. Make your outdoor space your dream oasis today with Wayfair and enjoy it all summer long. You want to go to wayfair.com right now to shop a huge outdoor selection. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home.
Dylan Harper, first world-class family and world-class kid, humble. He's appreciative and thankful, but he's a worker. He's a worker on the basketball court, plays multiple positions, had the ball in his hands a ton for me because that's what I needed him to do, but can play off the ball. An elite scorer at the rim. Maybe as good a finisher. He's left-handed, but with his right hand, just extremely creative. And I've never been around a player too that avoids shot blockers. Just it has a knack for, just getting his shot off without it getting blocked. Young with potential to be great, as good as there is in the game, and unbelievable bloodlines. With his family, and his mom played, his dad played, his brother was one of the all-time great players with the Detroit Pistons now. And then Dylan, the talent at his age is just tremendous.
And then the same question, Coach, what if Ace Bailey and the Spurs connected too? What do they get there?
They're both like, Ace is an energy giver, happiest when he's in the gym. Young, he's 18 years old as we speak. He won't be 19 until August. An elite shooter, quickness, and being able to get a shot off. I had to play him multiple positions, So he and Dylan are both, guys that the NBA loves. People have seen them. They're multi-position guys and their elite scoring ability, both of them. Ace, exciting. He did things every day that you just kind of scratch your head at his ability to get a shot off in the lane, his leaping ability. He's got tremendous length and a fun guy to be around. So both the community, either one of these kids, the community will embrace and have fun with. And they're basketball savants. They were born to play basketball. They really are. Their abilities when they walk in the gym are just unique for kids their age.
All right, there you have it. You heard from Coach Pico out of Rutgers talking about Dylan Harper, a little bit about Ace Bailey, but in there he kind of mixed in Harper. What else would you expect? You hear those words from a guy who coached Harper at least for one season, and what leapt out for me, Rudy, was he said an elite scorer. Mm-hmm. Again, when I hear words like that, elite scorer, he talked about the ceiling can be higher when he goes to the NBA. He talked about the bloodlines. It seems to me that maybe, just maybe, Dylan Harper, again, if he gets picked by the Spurs at 2, he might be pushing for a starter job. What do you think?
Well, I'll reiterate it. If you're going to draft him at number 2, you're pretty much expecting him to start right away with this team. And I don't have any problem with seeing him, Castle, and Fox in the backcourt. That's a really hell of a trio in the backcourt. That's a scoring trio if you're thinking about it. And Dylan Harper is a scorer. I mean, when you say elite scorer, he's not coming in like, P. Maravich at 44 a game at Rutgers. He's not going to come in and, start averaging, 34 a game or 30 a game like that. Eventually, I can see him being right around that 25 to 26 point per game type of player. Could average more depending on the layout for the San Antonio Spurs if he's still with the Spurs in the long term. But for right now, he can get to the basket. He can use either hand. Primarily, you see him going left, and a lot of people are questioning him going right. That's just not even right. The guy can go right. He can finish with his right hand. He can get the shot up with very, very, very good quickness and speed. Overall, without the ball in his hand, he's going to be a menace, and not like Steph Curry type menace where he's shooting 3-pointers left and right, but just a menace for defensive guys that are guarding him, just keeping up with him. You can see him get to the basket, a lot of backdoor cuts. The sky is the limit for Dylan Harper. I feel he's a lot closer to his potential already coming in, and it's not a knock on him. He's just NBA ready. And when you're NBA ready, you're already going to be amongst the stars and amongst the superstars of the league. And I feel he's really that type of player. And that's why I had him as number 1 prospect for me. Like I said, before the college basketball season even started.
Right. That video clip was courtesy of my good friend and colleague at Ken's 5 San Antonio, Vinny Vencetta. He had a chance to speak with Coach Pico. So make sure you go follow Vinny on X at V Vencetta. Scroll down there. You'll see his interview with Coach Pico and hear more about what Coach had to say about Dylan Harper and the rest of the Rutgers guys out there. So, again, we hear from Coach. We're hearing all the good things, right? We're hearing the elite scorer. We're hearing he can, handle the ball with both hands. But then you look out the court and he said the community is going to have fun with these guys, and particularly for us, it'd be Harper. But you mentioned something right before the break and you got me going here. And I was like, okay, well, we're sure to get number 2 at Harper, right? And you're like, are we? You don't foresee a situation where Dallas does what is right for them and get Harper number 1, right? That's the only way that everything the script gets flipped.
Well,
they trade out at number 2.
So I think the possibility of trading out of number 2 is more likely to happen than Cooper Flag falling to the Spurs at 2. Again, Dallas makes a good case to take Dylan Harper 1. Kyrie is out. They need a point guard. They've got a lot of great bigs. I think Gafford just re-upped. But I think right now Dallas is pretty safely comfortable with Cooper Flag. I don't know if they're going to make the mistake of not taking him, which leaves the Spurs at 2 with Harper. And that's why I say I think you're going to more than likely see more trade scenarios for Harper to go to a different team, Spurs getting picks and, players, stuff like that in return. I'll say this: Ron Harper, Dylan's dad, made it clear to Spurs fans and Spurs media out there, wait until draft night, wait until his name's called to see where he goes. Now, he wasn't saying that just to say, hey, he's going to be somewhere else or he's not going to be a Spur. He didn't say that to say that. I agree with him 100%. You got to wait till draft night because, Jeff, just as everybody else does, a trade can happen literally seconds before that pick is made. So I've played with scenarios. I've thought about different teams. One of the things that I've talked to the guys on Sweep the League about was Philadelphia is desperately wanting number 2 for whatever reason. Well, we know why. They want Dylan Harper. If Philly made an offer for the number 3 pick where you just come down 1 and gave you Paul George, again, not old school Paul George, but if you can get the 16 points out of Paul George, just something like Harrison Barnes, just scratch just a little bit, but you only drop down a spot. Does that influence you a little bit more, knowing that what you're still
the Spurs will likely get Ace Bailey at that point.
No, I got a player in mind. I told him if that happens, then you go get a Trey Johnson out of Texas, the best shooter in this draft, very comparable to Devin Booker. So, I mean, there's really no loss in that. And I'm just, again, not happening. I'm just throwing it out there because there are teams desperate to get up to number 2. So,
you see, when I hear that, Rudy, it just makes me feel like, hey, maybe years from now, we're going to look back at the 2025 draft and say, yeah, maybe Harper should have gone number 1, Dallas. You messed up. Why do I feel that's going to happen?
Dylan Harper, again, Cooper Flagg, Jay Billis, and a lot of guys say he's generational. I don't use that word very lightly. I don't use generational a whole lot. Cooper Flagg's not necessarily generational. He's impactful. He's going to make a big difference. But again, as a number 1 guy on a team, I don't feel Cooper Flagg is that guy.
I'm not definitely going there with even Harper. I'm not saying he's generational as well. I think he's
no. I would say not at this point. No, I don't really see a generational kid in this draft. Ultimately, I don't see it at all. We've kind of already seen Dylan Harper is the most ready NBA player. He can go into Dallas, and if you got a healthy Anthony Davis and when a healthy Kyrie comes back,
forget about it.
I mean, that's a top 14 already, regardless. So there's no generational guy here. But again, the Spurs taking Harper is pretty set in stone unless there's a trade. And you got to keep your eyes and ears open because that trade could happen literally as Adam Silver's walking up to the podium.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it can happen at literally the last second. But again, multiple reports are saying the Spurs are locked in on number 2. That's going to take a humongous offer for them to pry it out of their hands and give it away. So safe to about 90% sure that the Spurs are going to keep number 2 in Harper. All right, so we come to end the show, and now I wish we could do this all day long leading up to the draft, but we can't. I got to be mindful of the time here. So it's not about 14.
Okay.
All right. I know it says on your screen, everybody, a question mark. Well, I want to flip it right now. We're going to do a buy or sell now.
Okay.
Buy or, that I got to bring out my very fantastic, awesome graphic there. That took me like 2 seconds, and maybe my niece made for me. And do that, man. Will Rudy press the blue button? Will he press the yellow button on Locked On Spurs buy or sell question? He only gets one today, so let's see what he has to say. Rudy, buy or sell, the Spurs will use number 14 to move up, to move down, or move out of the draft?
Oh, man. I'm going to say...
or keep it. There's that.
Well, I think... I'll say this. I think the Spurs are probably going to end up moving 14. And, again, it's either to trade back up into the top 10 or so, or it might even be to trade down a few spots, knowing they can get their player at a little bit cheaper rate. I mean, pay them a few million. It makes a whole lot of difference when trying to sign players. So I think they move out of 14, and it also wouldn't surprise me to hear them trade out of 14, similar to what they did with Rob Dillingham, just get future picks for him and, kind of just, wash their hands of 14 and say, okay, we don't really need it anymore. So I think if they do it, it might be something like that. But as of right now, I feel 51% confident that they'll probably move out of 14 in some sort of way.
Yeah, I'm with you right there. I think they move out of 14, whether they pick for somebody else, another team, and then ship it out. That scenario, but I do think they're going to do something with it. And my feeling is just they're going to move out of it. Maybe, yes, they'll probably get more draft assets. I can see that happening.
People hate draft picks.
I know they hate it, but I think we're just going to get a duplication of what happened last season. My second point, if I had to do a sub, pick, I guess it would be they stick and pick, and then that's it.
Yeah.
I don't think you would have to bundle 14 and something else to move up, right? You have to say, here's 14. Like you mentioned, here's Malachi, here's maybe a second rounder. Can we go for 10 and then get Malawatch or something like that?
It's the team to look at, and this is the team to circle right here, is circle the possibilities of them trading back up. Washington is definitely one that you want to look at. As of this recording, they've made a trade just recently. So that's out there. So again, Washington's one team to look at. They can get into the top 6, get 14. They may take a player, like I said, maybe people hate it, but maybe a Jeremy or somebody like that just to get back in to the top 10. Another team to look at, Brooklyn, has been so involved in a lot of conversations. So I think if you can talk to Brooklyn, maybe work a deal where you can get up to 8, they get 14, maybe throw them a 1 in a couple of years. That could be another possibility. The Pelicans are looking at, everything is around number 2 to where I think it makes number 14. That's what it comes down to. If number 2 is traded, they're going to pick at 14. I think that's what they do. But if they pick it 2 and they stick with it, then I think 14 is pretty much becomes available. But there are a couple of teams you got to really look at. Toronto's another one. There's just a lot of conversations about 3 or 4 teams in that top 10.
Yeah, I get it. I just go back to what I told you earlier, and what you're saying right now is teams are focused on number 2.
Yeah.
They know? Like, do we all know that it's really Harper that is the best player in the draft, not Flag? Yeah.
It is. Everybody always tries to trade for number 1. Let's be real.
Yeah, everybody tries to trade for
always
number 1.
fun.
Yeah.
But Dallas isn't getting the phone calls of, I don't think, and I don't feel. All of it surrounds number 2. Everybody knows the impact that Dylan Harper will have in the NBA. So if it's that much of a circus to where everybody wants him on their team, then why don't the Spurs just put a D&D button and just draft Harper?
Yeah.
It's going to work itself out in the long run. You got 3 great guards in the backcourt. If you can't stop that, then you want to either stop Wemby and whoever's there, or you want to stop the trio. Pick your poison.
Exactly. Well, it'll be a fun night, and we'll be there at the Spurs practice facility tonight, covering everything from there. And by we, I mean Casey Vieira and possibly Vinny Vencetta, but for sure Casey will be there with me. So make sure to follow us on X at Jeff G Spurs Zone, and Casey at Casey_Vieira, and then Vinny, just in case he goes, V Vencetta right now on X. So we should have the next show should be live, recorded live from the Spurs practice facility after everything is done. And I mean late in the evening, because Rudy could have gone to tonight's event. Unfortunately, he can't, but he would have seen just like waiting. He's going to be like, at the end of everything, he would have told me, we waited how many hours for 10 minutes of Brian Wright?
Yeah.
And that's it. So we'll have a show from there. So we'll definitely keep you going to what happened that night for tomorrow's episode of Lockdown Spurs. It might be out a little late tomorrow. Just apologies on that, but we'll have you covered. But Sweep the League will also have you covered. Rudy, what are y'all doing for draft day?
So I'll let it all out. Draft day, we may do a little bit of coverage, but because of my impending vacation coming up here this week, and I'll be gone all next week, we might just do some, maybe post on X. So be sure to follow at Sweep the League. Maybe we'll drop something on TikTok or something, but very minimal draft coverage this year. Again, we look forward to Jeff Garcia and Locked On Spurs doing their thing, and we'll shoot everybody your way so that they can take a look. But as far as Sweep the League, it's at YouTube, search Sweep League TV, hit the subscribe button. A lot of great shows coming out, so don't be left behind.
Exactly. Don't be left behind. And yeah, it's draft day 2025, everybody. What will the Spurs do? Be sure to stick right here on Locked On Spurs for all things happening tonight. And of course, throughout the entire offseason. Should be a fun night. I guess get ready for your Dylan Harper Spurs jersey. I mean, my goodness, Rudy already has a mural up in San Antonio. It's not even an official Spur yet. But no.
You gotta love it, right? You gotta love it.
Gotta love it. Hey, thanks for making Locked On Spurs your first listen today. For your second listen, find the Locked On NBA podcast where there is no off season. They'll keep you up to date on contract negotiation, rumors, everything you need to be most informed NBA fan. Find Locked On NBA on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. And subscribe to Locked On Spurs wherever you get your favorite podcast, iTunes, Spotify, Kens 5 Plus app, YouTube. Leave a comment on the Locked On Spurs YouTube page. We're reading the future episode of Locked On Spurs. Exciting times tonight. Well, yeah, we'll see what the Spurs do. So for Rudy Campos, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock in this episode of Locked On Spurs.